I met Chuck when he was 20 years old, and I met him in a bar and asked him out on a date the following day. And when I went to pick Chuck up, I knew it was going to be interesting in Florida. It was in the summer, and it was 95 degrees, and Chuck showed up at the door in a three-piece suit, and I was in a Hawaiian print shirt and shorts. And we went on our first date, and we have never been separated since. And he has been with me, and I have been with him for 25 years, and they have been an incredible experience. Chuck has been my rock, not only personally because of being together, but also in working together in our business. Chuck and I have started our travel company since we've been together. He has been the absolute organization of my life. Sometimes I am disappointed for him because he's frequently behind the scenes and I'm front and center, but that does not diminish who Chuck is at all. He has contributed in virtually every single way in my life, and contributed to and really is the reason for my happiness. We act as two different people, but we also act as one person, and together it's been an incredible experience that I'm very, very grateful for. This year has been a very important year for us. Chuck and I were very happy to be invited to President Obama's GLBT summit meeting, the DNC planning the strategy for the president's reelection. And we learned a lot about the gay community and how important the gay community was to the president and how important they were in terms of helping to contribute to his reelection, especially in key states like Florida and Ohio. In participating in that, we learned so much about the issues that were passionate to the president. And of course, this is a historic year in the president being the first in history to endorse gay marriage and broad gay civil liberty and civil rights to the gay community. So we were extremely impressed and humbled in participating. My story that I tell my friends about that event is it was a small group invited to this summit meeting, and then we had a photograph opportunity with the president afterwards. And we were standing in the receiving line, and Chuck is a very boisterous and he can say anything about anything. And it was very interesting to me because we were standing in line, and when we got closer and closer, I could tell that Chuck was becoming more and more nervous. And it really surprised me. And when we got right to the final, the president looked at us. I walked up, shook the president's hand, stood beside him, and then when I looked back, Chuck hadn't moved at all. He was frozen in place. And President Obama, as quick as that, said, "Chuck, come on over." And Chuck still didn't move. And then the president walked out of the line and grabbed Chuck's arm and pulled him over and said, "No, no, no, come over here next to me." It was a great moment. It was a thrilling moment for both of us, and one that I'll never forget. Later in the year, we went to the HRC National Dinner in Washington, and it was also to support the president and the marriage initiatives that were going on in Maryland, in Maine, the defeat of the constitutional ballot issue in Minnesota, and of course Washington. And it was very exciting because we didn't know at the time that it would be the first time in history that the gay community won unanimously all of those ballot initiatives. So it's been a very exciting year for gay rights. We're so happy to be aboard this cruise and our event with Drag Stars. We hope everybody's had a great time. It's been a very memorable event for us, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. I've actually planned this announcement of this kind of love letter to Chuck for more than 9 months. But I have to tell you what a fortunate coincidence to have the Supreme Court announce yesterday that it was not only going to take up the Defense of Marriage Act, but it was also going to take up the review of California's Proposition 8. And when they review both of those cases in March of 2013, we'll hope very hard for spectacular results in June 2013. So it makes this love letter to Chuck all the more important, because I decided 9 months ago that I couldn't do it in a traditional way. I needed to videotape this to be able to get through it, to say how much Chuck has contributed to my life and how much gratitude I have for what he's done. And decided 9 months ago that regardless of what happened in Florida and our constitutional anti-gay marriage status in our state, that it was time for Chuck and I to take it one step farther. We've been together 25 years, but it's a really important time, and I just want to say finally, regardless of what happens, let's go to Washington or wherever you would like. And Chuck, please, I wish you would marry me.